everyone, I'm Allie with Potomac Beads. This vintage reserve necklace is going to feature a nice clustered look with some pearls as well as crystals. You can use anything for this video with any type of bead. This is actually a video that is by popular demand from one of the lives that I did. I had this beautiful necklace on that Anna had done years ago. It's just a technique. Again, you can use tons and tons of different things. I'm going to be using some pearls, but gather up whatever you want. If you need any pearls or any materials, check out the links below me in the description to shop online with us at PotomacBeads.com as well as PotomacBeads.eu. So to get started, the Cluster Reserve is all about making little drops with head pins and becoming an expert at doing coiled wire. I have here laying all over tons of head pins that are on 22 gauge wire that are about 2 inch. Now this is longer than you need, but it gives you a lot to hold on to and a lot to work with. I have a 6mm pearl here, as well as a Swarovski by a round in 4mm that we're going to add on. I've done a little bit of the chain during one of our Twitch live events here, and I started the chain to get an idea as far as my pattern. What you want to do is a little section of the chain to decide kind of what that pattern is going to be and how to make the sides even. Whether or not you start in the middle of the necklace and work your way up, or on the sides and work your way to the middle, you kind of want to keep an eye and maybe even write down exactly how many beads you're using per link of chain. To begin with, I have again all of these beads kind of on a bunch of head pins, and I have my chain nose as well as my round nose pliers handy and ready to go. It's easiest to do these in groups, taking all of these little beads here, going in right after the bead, making a loop by turning the wire to the side, going over the top of the round nose pliers and to the back, and then letting this little eye pin sit to the side. Again, I'm going to take this head pin, which I've already loaded on the beads, leave myself just the littlest bit of room, turn my round nose pliers back away from me, grab that wire, come over to the top of the round nose pliers, switch from the top jaw to the bottom jaw of the round nose pliers, and take that wire to the back 90 degrees. I'm going to continue to do this in kind of mass quantities. I do it quickly here. And just while I have these round nose pliers in my hands, I might as well do a bunch of these little links. I actually had people time me during the live event to see how fast we could do these and how many I could do in about a minute with getting these nice coiled links onto, or these nice coiled pearls onto my chain. Again, you can use anything for this design. You can speed through doing some of these links, and I would not suggest doing something like the simple looper or the one-step looper, because I think this necklace does the best with the coiled eye pins to add a little bit of flair. You can also use more than just one style or two styles of beads. You can really have fun kind of playing it up. So I let you watch a bunch of the eye pins creation, and I'll go ahead and show you how I'm going to start applying them and adding them to my chain. So I've already added some of my pearls to my one side of my chain, and I'm going to start at the other side just to show you how I go in and determine where I'm going to put all of these little eye pins of pearls. I'm not worrying about the crystals yet. I'll go in and they just add kind of an extra little look to the design. I kept about 4 inches empty on the one side, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I can always go back and add more, even years later if I want to. I did write down that the first 2 loops, I'm going to use 1 pearl. Then for 3 loops, I'm going to use 2. And then for 4 loops, I'm going to use 3 pearls. So I'm kind of increasing as I go. Writing this down, you can also just look from one side to the other, but it's going to get you that opportunity. I've used a nice Figaro chain, which has a bigger loop and a smaller loop. I'm only going to add my pearls to my bigger loop. When you add to the smaller loop, sometimes it makes it tight and it's not going to make it flow and hang nicely on you. So I'm going to go to the first chain that sits equal distance from the other side here, and I'm going to add my pearl onto the chain. Going in and putting the chain through, or the wire through the chain, I'm pulling it up and I'm going to pop that chain into the loop that I created with that eye pin. Grabbing my round nose pliers, I'll hold that loop and coil the extra wire at least 2 times around the base of that eye pin. Take your wire cutter, switching your hands, and cut off that extra wire, placing it to the side and out of the way. If you're using sterling silver wire, you may want to keep and hold on to that extra scrap. If you're using the plating wire, and I apologize, I said 22, it's 24 gauge head pins with the pearls. I forgot I had to go thinner. And you're gonna just put that to the side. Now, when you put this down, you'll notice that you have basically two sides of the chain. You have, if you're looking at this angle, an upper portion and a bottom portion of chain. I'm going to make sure that when I start to add more than one crystal, I alternate adding to both the right and the left, or the top and bottom side of the chain. I'm going to go in, that was my first one with just one. Picking up another one, I'm going to go into the second loop and go ahead and add another pearl onto my next link of open chain. Again, I only did 2 loops on the other side, or 2 portions of chain on the other side, where it is only one little hanging pearl. So after these 2 then, and putting that to the side, I'm going to go to my next link of my chain here, and I'm going to put on 2 pearls. When I put on the 2 pearls, I'm going to make sure that 1 pearl goes to the top of the chain, and 1 pearl is going to link on to the bottom of the chain. I'll do the first one on here, coiling around, cutting off, and then while I have that one in my hand, I'm going to go to the opposite side of the chain. So you can see that one's hanging down right there. I'm going to take my next eye pin and link it onto the top of the chain. This is going to fill the chain up a little bit more and make it so that it doesn't just look like all the pearls are hanging down. It gives it more of a clustered look. I'm going to do another 3 links of chain where I do 2 pearls, and then I'm going to start increasing to 3. As you increase to 3, 4, 5, you can just start to go up and down on each end of chain. So I currently have 4 of my pearls on. I'm going to keep building and increasing the number of beads that I hang down from the chain every couple of links. So at this point here, I've actually done the whole 2 loops at 1, then I did 3 loops at 2, and then I did 4 loops at 3, and I still have obviously more to go towards the center of the design. Another idea, if you want to see more progress kind of happening, is you can start by taking one of your loops and connecting to each link of chain. Then going back in, starting down a little further, adding another one, and stopping. Starting down a little further, adding another one. I like to do it in this method because I think it's easier to kind of keep track of the loops, and since they're open, I can see them better to build onto. So I'm going to continue to build on and write down again how many loops now I'm going to do with 4 to the groupings, having 2 to each side. I still have more of my eye pins, and then I'm going to go back and do a couple more loops and add to a couple more of these. Again, I have 144 gross pack of head pins to play around with. And then also, just to show you, I've already played around and made one of the earrings as well. For the earring design, same deal. I wrote down exactly what I did for the design. Grab here this crystal to show how I have the clustered earring to give a nice look. I have 5 where I have 1 crystal, and then 4, 2 of those are crystals, 3, 1 of those are crystals, and 2, 0 of those are crystals. So I kind of wrote down a little key that I have. These are actually very, very similar designs to actually what I did for my wedding party for my wedding years ago as well. So this is a nice kind of versatile design that you can use that same principles of adding beads and going to different sides on earrings as well as necklaces. So once you have all of your pearls into place, and I ended up with 4 as my maximum number, so I did that 2 sections with 1 and then 3 sections with 2, and then amped up to 4 the whole way along the center of the design here. Now what I've done with the remainder of my head pins, and I did use all 144 of the head pins, that whole gross, is I put the crystals on the remaining head pins. From there, I'm going to start with the bottom and start to adding them sporadically throughout the design. No rhyme or reason, just kind of a little bling here and there to add to that fullness and that cluster in the design. So after you have the pearls all in place, you can grab your crystals, curl those up into the eye pins, and then coil them onto the different sections of chain. So just to show, once you're done with all of your crystals and you have them in place, and what I did was lay it down, saw where I needed a crystal or 2, and kind of added them along the piece to add that darker color and pull in that wine look. On this other side here, I'm just going to put a simple hook and eye clasp, opening up the end of that hook, closing it up, And then it can go to any different length of the chain because my chain here is big enough for the end to go through. That way it gives me options to wear it as a longer necklace or a shorter necklace. You can also, at the very end, I kept one head pin so that way I could connect onto the end of the chain. That is going to be the end that the eye can go through on the hook. Coiling then and just making a tiny little charm basically to hang down the back of the necklace and to give that nice finished look at the end of the chain. So whether or not you go in and do it with an 8mm and a 6mm or that 5, 6, and 4, you can see the design cluster and the look and how much the metal and the coiling is really going to affect the look based on the size of the bead. A larger bead, the metal is going to take a back seat to it. The smaller the bead, the more that the metal is going to be part of the focus of the design. Keep in mind you can also make, again, a nice clustered pair of earrings, mix up colors and make it really, really cool. It's a great design and a great idea to use up some of those random beads that you may have gotten in grab bags or that you may have laying around that you didn't use at the very kind of ends of the different projects. Have 1 or 2 beads. It's a great necklace to use up in that fashion. Thanks so much for watching this vintage reserve necklace. Remember, just like the one I have on here, it can be done with tons and tons of different supplies. You can check out our complete selection of supplies at PotomacBeads.com as well as PotomacBeads.eu. Remember, you can also give a little thumbs up, say your favorite things to use in the description and the comments below, as well as subscribe to this YouTube channel to get regular updates and ideas from us online. As always, thanks for watching and have fun creating your own vintage reserve cluster necklace and earring set.